Welcome to our OrgaTEX presentation video. In this video, we will provide brief information about OrgaTEX. We will briefly summarize all the modules. When we start logging into the OrgaTEX software, once they pick their name from the list of preset users, they will log into OrgaTEX with their assigned permissions and rights. Users can use OrgaTEX in different languages. They will have the opportunity to use OrgaTEX in different languages such as Turkish, English, French, German, Italian, Spanish. When OrgaTEX opens, you will see the main console. The main console consists of two screens. On the left is the screen showing the menus as a list, while on the right side you see the control panel. The control panel is arranged according to a specific logic. In the supervision section, we see the modules used for monitoring the batches. In the planning section, we see the planning screen and the workload screen of our machines. In the editor section, we see the screen for preparing the processes to be used on the machines. In the reports section, we see the part where we can retrieve reports related to the batches. We see the part where we will get reports related to alarms and events. And we see a special report program where we can visually monitor all these reports from a control panel. In the Tools section, we see the list of chemical request orders going from OrgaTEX to the chemical dispensing station. In the Control Panel section, we see the menu where the user can change their password. Again, on the left side, we can also see the menus appearing on our control panel as a list on the left side. Our first menu is the Machine Online screen, where we monitor the machines online. When we enter this screen, allows us to monitor the machines located in the die house online. Which stage each machine in the die house is currently at, what its status is, at which stage and which step of the process it is, whether there is any alarm, like whether it is empty, running, stopped. If running, which batch it belongs to, which customer it belongs to, which color number the running batches belong to, can be monitored from this screen. As you can also see on the screen, each row represents a machine. The rows can be personalized from the Settings menu of the online screen on OrgaTEX. New fields can be added, or unwanted fields can be removed. In this window, the machine, batch number, color number, visual color, operating status, the machine's current temperature, operating time, information such as which step it is on, which function is running, which machine is currently at what stage, and how many hours it has been running can be tracked on this screen. At the same time, we can analyze different features of the machines using the buttons above them. Starting with our first button, when we press this button, we can connect directly to the program type and intervene on the machine or make changes. We can also see what each button does briefly by hovering over it. Our second button, showing whether the machine is in the sample step, is the button you see that helps us manage it if an additional program needs to be entered. While in the sample step, currently machine B013 is at the sample step and waiting for color OK. Our third button shows the status of chemical requests. Which chemicals of the batch's recipe have been sent from the chemical? Automation. Which chemicals are waiting and which chemicals will be requested later, you can see on this chemical recipe screen. Another button is our recipe button, showing the recipe for that batch. On this screen, you are able to see the recipe details for that particular batch. Again, the batch number, recipe number, color number, chemicals, the order in which the chemicals are given. You can see the amounts of the chemicals and the amounts sent from the chemical automation. Our next button is the Start-Stop button. We mentioned that we could see the statuses of all our machines online on this screen. There are a number of expressions in the status section. The part we call Select indicates that the machine is empty. The part we call Run indicates that the machine is running. When we press the Start-Stop button, we can stop a running machine or start a stopped machine. The online monitoring screen is also a screen for intervening with the machines. On this screen, we can make any kind of intervention on the running batches. We can change the program, we can skip steps, we can change a certain part of the program or change its step. In other words, as if we were at the machine, we can make all the changes to our batches from this screen. Our next button is the Step Skipping button. When we press the Step Advance button, the machine's Step Advance sequence begins. To perform a step-by-step advance, we must first stop the machine and then, once it's active, use the machine's Step Advance button to we can carry out the machine's skip step operation by selecting the desired step. Our other button is for making changes to the running active program. When we press this button, it allows us to make changes to our active program running on the machine. When pressed, it will show us the program currently running on the actual machine. Whenever we want to make changes to a phase or step in the program, we can just click on it to make those changes. Or we can add a step, we can delete a step, or we can copy and add a few steps. Later on, when we're done and tell it to send this to the machine, we send the amended program over to our machine. Our next button is the Show Running Program button. When you click on this button, you can see the running program. You can easily monitor here which step it's currently on, which steps are left, and what operations will be done in the upcoming steps. If the machine has a running batch, you can see the batches waiting in the queue from this list. Another button we have is the Process Graph Review button. When we press this button, you can see the active graph of our running batch. On the graph, you can review and analyze the analog and digital data of all steps. Different. You can add different graphs that you want to see to the screen. For example, you can review information on the graph, such as the machine's temperature, the machine's level, and the machine's pump speed. At the same time, you can also review the executed process steps on this screen. This screen is a graphical display showing the elapsed time, showing the history of the running batch. On this screen, you can also see, whether the machines are actually running and whether their requested steps are still waiting. You can monitor things here, like whether there is a delay in the operator steps, or if there is an alarm active on the machine. At the same time for the running batch, you can see a step-by-step list of the alarms given by the machine, time set time, the working time, and the waiting periods in between. You can see the interventions made to the batch. You can see the waits during operator steps. On this screen, you can analyze the machine retrospectively as if it were running. Our next button is the Additional Information button. Here, you can enter additional information for our batch. This information could be comments, descriptions, or if you have a spectrophotometer, you can enter and save its measurement values here. By defining other additional fields, you can also add extra information fields here. Our other button is the Information button. You can see the startup parameters defined for the currently running program. Machine weight, machine liquor, ratio, bobbin count, pump speed for, yarn dyeing, pump, inside-out speed as well as outside-in speed. You can see whatever speeds are parametrically defined here. With our other button, we can see the current step information of the selected machine. In the step information, we can see what operation the machine is currently doing. We can see and compare the set values and actual values. Our other button is the Process Picture button. When we press this button, you can see the online process picture of the machine. In the process picture, you can view online information such as machine level, valve opening and closing status, and pump operating status. Our other buttons are filter buttons. These buttons include the button to show all currently open machines, the button to show machines running on the additional program, the button to show machines running on the sample step, the button to show machines running on the operator step, and the button to show empty machines. Here, we briefly observe the machine online screen. We are moving on to another screen. Our other screen is the Process Review screen, which is a part of the Supervision screen. While discussing this screen, we mentioned that we can do monitoring in two ways. The first monitoring is viewing machines online, and the second is the screen for viewing finished batches. When we press the Process Review button to view finished batches, you will See batches that operated within certain time intervals. These appear before us as a list of processed and finished batches. We can display finished batches using the MER filter screen, such as batches. From a specific date to another date, all batches going back X days. Here, we can access any batch via fields like work, order, customer, recipe, or color number from the top filter area. When we want to open any batch, we can enter its graph, and on the 3 graphic screen, that bar touches executed steps can be examined with all their values to analyze our batch. In OrgaTEX, as standard, we can conduct a batch review going back 2 years. This period can be increased according to the customer's request. Our other button is the alarm monitor. On this screen, we see the list of alarms that have occurred on the machine's running batches. All machines' alarms appear on this screen, and from here we can track which machine triggered which alarm. Generally, this window stays open in the maintenance department section, and their maintenance departments can track this alarm, these alarms. Another screen of ours is our machine planning screen in planning. As you can see on the screen, each row represents a machine. The red line indicates the current date, time, and week. The left-hand part, the left side of the red line shows finished batches. The right side of the red line shows planned batches. Boxes indicated with a light bulb icon on the red line mean that the batches are running. Batches progress to the left as they run and take their place on the left side after they finish. As you can also see on the screen, you will see each box taking its place between the finish and start dates. On the batch boxes, the parts of that batch that appear as a grid mean that that batch has been extended. When we hover over it, you can see the batch's set time and actual running time in the yellow box that opens. You can also track from here whether the batch has been extended or not. On the right side of the red line, you see the planned batches that will be run in the future. These batches, according to the batches, recipe and process sent from the ERP system, take their place on the batch planning screen by calculating how long they will take, and how long it will take, how many hours, how many minutes it will take is shown here. On this screen, we can also see the downtimes on the machines. We can also do downtime analyses, such as which downtime occurred on which machine, the cause of the downtime, why the machine was stopped. For example, between 2 batches, there are no orders, no batches. By defining downtimes here, such as a fault occurring on the machine, and entering them via the machine, we can track the current downtime from here. If we take a look at the buttons above, our first button is the downtime screen. It gives us the list of downtimes recorded in OrgaTEX. When we select from here, we can get the machine's downtime list. Our other button. We can see the process program defined on our batch, which process the program will run with, which program that batch will run with. We can see that information from here. We can also see the batch's recipe. We can see the active recipe for running batches and the recipe that will be run for planned batches in detail. Our other button is the batch search button. When I press the batch search button, I can search for batches using specific criteria, such as work order number, customer number, and color number. For instance, when I search for a batch by its work order number, I can find my batch and navigate to it automatically. Another feature on this screen is that for the batch I hover over, when I click B, I can see information about the batch in a yellow box that opens up. Another feature of this screen is that it is a customizable screen. In OrgaTEX, on this screen, which machines we want to see on this screen, which machines we don't want to see. We can edit these. We can edit which information we want to see. By customizing this screen, we can prepare different screens for different departments. Our other screen is the program editor. The program editor is the screen where we define the processes we will use in that batch. Here, we define all. The processes can be written in packages, such as pre-treatments, dyeing, and washing. They can be defined as sub-packages. And based on these defined packages, they can be used in our batches. In OrgaTEX, we use two terms. We refer to them as program and treatment. Programs are what we write to use in emergencies we need on the machine. In OrgaTEX, we do not use the program section. In OrgaTEX, we use the treatment section. What we call a treatment is actually every single part of the process. For example, it's pre-treatment, dyeing, washing, or softening. We break a process into parts and write it. Then, from these parts, we create a whole process. As you can see on the screen, when we open our processes, a bleaching process, we can easily prepare and easily write the bleaching process in OrgaTEX. Here, never start, we can shape our program by very easily using the copy and paste features of Windows, or by using copy and paste or save as. We can easily duplicate the programs. As you can see, pre-treatments, dyeing. In the dyeing section, we write the dyeing processes. In the washing section, we write the washing processes. This screen is one that helps us greatly in preparing the processes. Our other screen is the batch report. In the batch report, you can get reports related to the batches. We can pull our reports using previously prepared report templates. We can also prepare report templates here ourselves. For instance, when I open up the batch list report, As you can see, our report has columns. We can create these columns ourselves. We can add a new field. Like order? No. Then from the OrgaTEX database, this. Order. Selecting it as order. No, we can run our report here. After setting the columns in our report, by choosing the criteria on which to run our report, we can generate our report by linking it to criteria like completion date, machine number, batch status, color number. We can arrange different reports for different purposes here. You see a report designed to retrieve a report as a list showing the status of the batches. You can see different tasks in occur. Different report. For example, here is the daily production report. When we press the daily production report, you can display the production report between two dates or on a daily basis. Our other report is the alarm report, downtime report, manual intervention report. Here we can see different reports. For example, the waiting report on previously recorded operator. Steps here. For example, we can analyze the waiting times in the operator steps, how long which machine waited at an operator step. Another report of ours, again within the alarm reports, is the 0-second stoppage report. Downtime. Machine stoppage reasons. Here, why the machine was stopped. What the stoppage reason is, we can analyze these. Our other report is the alarm report. We can examine all alarms, or when we want to examine a specific alarm, by selecting that alarm. We can also get a report where we can examine that alarm, just a single alarm. Our other screen is an alarm screen that we use visually by running our report as a control panel on this screen. For example, when we run the production report, as you can see visually, actively receiving information directly from the database, receiving information from the database. You can see the reporting program taking shape as a visual control panel. When I change the date here, you can see that all the data changes automatically. For yarn dyeing, just by selecting yarn dyeing or making a selection right here. Depending on which machine you are operating, we can actively update our report by selecting them from here. For example, alarm report. Which alarms occurred the most? The downtime alarms. Which alarms occurred on which machines and how many times? Again, by changing the turn time filter, we can visually examine the report for our machines. On another screen, we see the list of chemical request orders sent to the Chemical Distribution Automation Here, which chemicals were requested, which chemicals were sent, completed, or are waiting in the queue. You can see this entire list on this screen. In this video, we briefly introduced OrgaTEX. See you all in our next video.